So I go by DJ K May here at Ahava. I run the sound on Sundays. So I'm going to tell you a story that's probably going to blow your minds. Um, all right. You're going to hell. You're going to catch AIDS and die. You're an abomination. You're choosing this lifestyle. You'll never be allowed to bring a guy home. We won't allow it. Those are all messages that I remember from my childhood when I was raised in a Pentecostal church back in eastern Kentucky. I was raised with a very conservative family, so those were the messages that I remember. There was a day a few years ago, from New Year's Eve to New Year's Day, I remember sitting in the hospital with a friend of mine and his partner. His partner he had just recently had a heart attack. So, it's a thing. It wasn't planned. But I was sitting there in the hospital chair and I was scrolling through Facebook while there was a lull in conversation. So I was scrolling through and I remember seeing a post from a pastor that's local here in Lexington. He had actually spoke with me about his church. It's a Pentecostal church here in Lexington, about how they are affirming as a Pentecostal church. I actually did not believe it at first. It helped that he was a gay man. I was like, well, maybe that's possible. So I'm starting to debate if I should go. I'm starting to think like, is this something I should do, or is it worth the risk? I've had too many experiences, many years, a couple of decades of church trauma, for being gay specifically. And I was debating, and I actually did not even tell my friends that I was debating this. I didn't even tell them about the post. In our community, it can kind of be taboo to even consider a church community or a spirituality or a faith. So I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? It's a new year. Let's leave the past in the past, and let's move forward and try to have a new beginning. So I leave the hospital, and I go to my car, and while I'm in my car, I'm still debating. I'm still thinking, like, is this something I should do? Should I turn around? I can go home. Nobody even knows I'm going. I didn't contact anyone at the church to tell them I was coming because either I wanted to go and surprise them or I wanted the out to go home, if I didn't actually want to go through with it. So I pull in and I'm sitting in my car and my heart is racing. I'm getting very anxious. I'm remembering all of those messages and all of those feelings of hurt from the past. And it's still difficult to even talk about because it still feels so real, but because it's so many years worth of this. So I'm sitting in the car and I'm thinking like, okay, I've done a lot of difficult things in my life. This is another one I can just put in the books and see what happens. So I get out of my vehicle. After opening my door, I get out and I start putting one foot in front of the other, start inching closer and closer to the steps of the church. While I'm there, I can remember my senses being heightened, tuning into the nature around me, looking at the trees, the leaves on the ground, the blacktop, the church building, all of it. I was starting to notice everything. So I keep getting closer and closer, and I put one foot on the first step and then another on the second step until I reach the door. And then I grab a hold of the handle and I open it and I say, all right, this threshold represents a new beginning. I'm going to go in here and see what happens. So as I enter the sanctuary, or the extra, there's an entrance, you walk in, and I remember looking at all the decor and seeing the scriptures on the wall, knowing there's Bibles around, and remembering the carpet. I remember it was a maroon or burgundy color. And I keep getting further and further into the building and enter the sanctuary. And as soon as I enter, the pastor says, well, there's Kyle May. And my heart just started racing even more, maybe skipped a few beats. And I was like, oh, wow, now this makes it real. I'm here. I'm in the building. People see me. They know I'm here. They turn around. And I just say, you know what, keep going. So I keep going further and further into the building and, looking at the pews and seeing the faces of the people that are looking behind to see who's coming in. And I was grateful to see people that looked familiar or people that looked like me. I saw many LGBTQ people in the congregation, which helped ease the anxiety to where I moved further in and said, okay, this is probably going to be okay. And I actually found someone that I remember from Eastern Kentucky. We had known each other, so I sat next to him. And my first response is a disclaimer, like, I'm not religious. I'm just here to check it out. I was invited. I was told this was a Pentecostal church, so I said I was going to give it a try. You know, what drew me to I started looking for community because I started in the bar scenes when I moved here from Eastern Kentucky. And I think that does have a place in our community because lots of people still go there for community. But I discovered that that wasn't where I wanted to spend my time, so I started looking for alternatives. So he assured me it was safe. He was like, "These are great people. You're going to love it. Just sit back and enjoy." So while I'm sitting there, I'm going through a lot, as you can imagine. When they were singing, the songs, the speaking in tongues, the laying hands on people, kneeling, altar calls, all of that was bringing back all the memories from before. So I was going through a lot. But luckily, the pastor got up, and or when he was speaking, he was talking about, people being welcome and celebrated. And one thing that really stood out to me was the moment when he started saying, if somebody has hurt you, I apologize on their behalf. Mhm. It still affects me because that is something that I've needed to hear for so many years from so many people. So that turned my life around where I thought I can actually find a community within spiritual spaces. And after the service, people asked me how it went and what I thought, and because some of them knew that it was a difficult situation to go there and be there. And I said, I am grateful for the experience. It was I do believe it's an affirming church. I saw a lot of people from our community there, and it was a great experience, and I'm thankful for it. I said, however, I might be gay, but I don't really feel like I fit into the Pentecostal identity. It's still hard, still traumatic to be here sometimes, but I'm glad that I came and gave it a try. I think that experience is what led me to continue the journey to find other places and give them a try until I eventually found Ahava, and I've been coming here for about 2 years and very grateful for the community here. Now, I identify as gay and spiritually curious. Because I do think that there's a place for that in my life and in people's lives and in our community if they are open to it. I found a lot of value in it and support. For me, it has been a worthwhile journey, and I'm glad that I have, I gave that a chance. I'm glad that I was open to the possibilities, and I've been here for about 2 years now, and very active. And I think for me, what it's allowed me to do is understand that I can learn about religions, I can learn about spiritual practices, and be okay and experience those affirming um, conversations and experiences with people. And I think that what I've wanted to do while being at Ahava is teach more people in our community about these possibilities because I do think some of them could experience, some sort of value from it too. So with that, I want to say thank you for listening. And, I hope that if you are in our community and you need some sort of support, that you can find it either here or somewhere else as well.